Classified. Researcher, Dr. Robert Zeus. Team, 0001. Date, May 9, 1956. Location, St. Louis Academy. Codename, Detention Room. Day 1. We were called to research a strange occurrence happening at a local school. It was by this point one of many we have faced, and like all the others, we approached with caution. I wasn't sure of what to make of it or what it even was. This time it wasn't a simple, floating fire or giant rat. This time we were facing something different. Like protocol states, I sent in the happy men, as usual, and it was normal for at least 4 hours. Things changed at 12 p.m. Without warning, all 5 happy men began to move without order. They scrape on walls, destroying fingernails and concrete. The message they wrote: I must learn. All over the room. This phenomenon continued for an hour. At exactly 1 p.m. all the happy men stopped and began to look around in confusion and terror at something. I sent out a word to headquarters. This irregularity isn't like the others and should step up the quarantine zone. The day ended with no more strange occurrences. Day 2. The observation period was still undergoing. We had passed meals easily to the happy men without any issues. So we had them move on to different activities. The first was trying to break different objects in the room or even litter everywhere. Nothing happened either way. At around 11 p.m. we tried something different and asked one of the happy men to exit the building. He was immediately vaporized in front of us. Chaos then ensued. The happy men refused to take my orders and the researchers started to vomit. It took the use of gum to calm down everyone. Then, like the day before, all the happy men began to write on the wall using their fingers. This time those who don't have any fingers ripped out their toes and used that instead. It was mayhem. Happy men aren't raving mad men, yet they so easily destroy themselves. Many researchers broke down in tears. We decided to call this irregularity the detention room. Everyone went to sleep or tried to, but many of us couldn't. Day 2 and no sign of possible destruction. Hostile behavior found. Move to danger level C. Day 3. The guardians were called in to deal with detention room. Due to the inability to remove the happy men in the previous established fact that caused harm to leave, we satchel charged the room. 10:30 p.m. Satchel charge failed. We had to move on to more drastic measures. Bulldozer, wrecking ball into an AGM-22, couldn't scratch the thing. I made the decision to raise it to danger level B and the entire city evacuated. I had to argue with the higher-ups for hours before they agreed. Test and extermination was delayed for the rest of the day. What is this thing? Day 3 and the irregularity has shown signs of being invincible despite being attacked. It never retaliated. It's unclear way, but it has shown signs of being deadly. Danger level B. Day 4. We spent the entire day testing out the range of the irregularity. Firstly, its effects won't happen unless you are within the building itself, making the threat level of the unnecessary. Second, unless you try to leave the room you will not be killed instantly. Only tormented at 12 p.m. for hours straight. Thirdly, the mind control will only work unless you are inside the room, and most likely it destroys your mind. Even other animals aren't immune to the mind control. Rats placed inside began to write using their blood and fingernails as tool. 5 p.m. Majority of the researchers believe we should enter the irregularity and begin to study it directly. The higher-up tried to refuse us, but this is for the greater good. On September 9, 1956 we enter the room and begin to study the irregularity. The researchers were Dr. Robert Zeus, Dr. Regina Smith and Dr. Paul Barron. Report end. Researchers lost consciousness immediately after entering the detention room. Day 5. We awoke in a strange room. To call it strange was an understatement. It felt like we were walking on flesh. The walls were filled with eyeballs always staring at us. Walking forward, they move along with us almost like they are looking right through us. Paul tried to destroy one of the eyeballs but failed. Having no other option, we continued to walk forward. Ahead we could only hear the sound of scribbling, like a class filled with focus kids. Extend the flesh tunnel. We are graded by one eye. Kids all focus on writing. Writing on flesh, that is. Probably their own, since they lack any or even teeth. Some still possess a nose or an ear, others only possess an eye. Realizing that we are in there somehow, they all turn towards us at the same time. For a minute it was pure silence. They are staring at us and we staring back at them. The silence broke when Paul tried to leave. All 20 students' pencil turned into long rugged swords and their books into white shields. Then they began to chase us. Running outside we would and begin to be chased by more of these things. Hundred, no maybe thousands of them, all while shouting. 1 plus 2. The chase continued, but Dr. Regina fell and, trying to save her, Dr. Paul had his head pierced by giant staples. Dr. Regina then began to look on in horror, but with so little time I dragged her up and continued to run with her. We ran for what seems to be miles, and even then the small children doesn't seem to end. In such a narrow corridor and with so much monster behind us. I began to tank. I wanted to give up. My legs hurt and there was no end. Until everything froze, the monster stopped in place and even the eye and the wall closed. Day 5.5. The following section must be taken with the utmost suspicion, since it's still under review by the organization. After entering strange room we are met by a strange, to put it simply, grotesque monster. Filled eyes all over its body and tentacles slowly moving around, taking up different chess pieces and moving it around. All 100 tentacles are connected to a single purple bleeding brain. Welcome, human. Strange standing before me, isn't it? The thing says, taking a tentacle and putting it around us. No need for fear. If I wanted to I would have you killed by those children. The monster says, placing us on a chair made of moving flesh. I only have what you call an hour to speak with you. After all, those people hate strangers messing with their toys. It seems amused, almost like a criminal getting away with a major crime. I have a simple proposition: beat me in chess and I will grant you I lose and I take your body. Those words were not one of asking but one of telling. After I was trapped here I lacked anyone to play with. My mind is starting to regress. Tentacles begins to move around, fixing and placing chess pieces. You will take the white pieces. After all, it wouldn't be fair if I moved first. Despite this I never felt any reassurance. You humans fascinates us. After all, you choose to enter into this despite knowing you may never leave. All eyes present and turns towards me, almost like it's observing me. You fascinate me more. You can create invincible eyes and strange creatures who can do your bidding. The tentacles begin to shake and weird motion, almost mockingly. Those toys aren't mine. As for the eyes, that's not for you to know, mate. It was then it occurred to me that I'd been playing this entire time. It would seem I was only a single move away from checkmate. Then I lost, or I'd lost until now. I'm sorry. All the tentacles then pierce straight through my body and begin to dig into my skin real deep. I begin to lose consciousness. I've been a walk hour or a minute of second later. I'm not sure, but in front of me is the dead body of Dr. Regina. I originally intended to take both of your bodies, but it would seem you guys had a fourth one with you. That was the moment I saw the birth of what later became known as the miracle child. Everything else after became unclear. It would seem I lost too much blood after a operation or something. I only remembered a thing now. Knowles, the supervisor, said, "The key is unleashed." Day 5, another casualty was incurred, leaving only I, Dr. Robert Zosint, Regina's next child, alive. Conclusion. While the irregularity poses the ability to be B-level due to an ability to affect the outside world, it should be labeled D-level. Termination, seemingly impossible. Should be quarantined until further investigation is possible.